page 778, and it's problem, 777, sorry, and it's problem number 3. Okay, so the information that is given to you is the following. We have x equals 4t squared, y is equal to 2t, and then we know the interval for t is between -1 and +1. Okay, so that's the information that is given to us. So what we want to do is we want to graph it and find out what that is, and then we want to find an equivalent rectangular equation for that. Okay, graphing it, this is where you'll want to use Desmos also to graph it. So if you take this, the x and y coordinate that we have, and put that into an ordered pair, that's the easiest way to do that. So if you put it into an ordered pair, you have 4t squared, comma, 2t. Okay, then you can go to Desmos. Let's go here, and we're going to enter that ordered pair. So we have 4t, then you can bring up this little box right here to help you get the squared part. So 4t squared, and we have comma 2t. Okay, and then our t goes from -1 to +1. So let's go ahead and enter that interval in. Okay, then we have our graph, okay? So you'll have some options when you're working through it to choose which graph would match up with that. Okay, so we have our graph. Grab will turn to its side. Now what we want to find is that equation. Okay? So to find that equation, then you look at these equations that you have right here, and you say, I want to find out which one would be easier to substitute into the other one. That's the easiest way to do it. So notice you want to solve for t and substitute it in the other one. So to solve for t on this one would be a lot messier than this one right here. So it'd be easier to solve for t. That's what you're looking for. Which one is easier for me to solve for t and then substitute it in for t into the other equation. So I'm going to solve for t in this second equation right here. So doing so, I get the following. You have y equals 2t, and to solve for t, I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So therefore, t is equal to y over 2. So then once you've solved for t in this second equation right here, I'm going to take and substitute for t into this first equation. So doing so, you get the following. X is equal to, and then I have 4, and instead of t, I'm going to substitute this value for t of y divided by 2. Make sure you put it in parentheses. And then we're going to square that amount. Okay, so simplifying that even further, we get the following. So you have 4, and then inside parentheses, we have y, and then we need to square each of these terms. So we're going to have y squared over, and then you take 2 squared, which is 4. Then look and see if you can simplify it in any way. Notice there's a 4 here on the numerator, a 4 here on the denominator. Therefore, our 4's will cancel out. So we get x is equal to y squared. Okay, so that would be our equation that we have. So now what we need to do is find restrictions on y.